How do you view your camera room? Is it a place where you just meet with clients and snap a few photos?
Or could it be something so much more?
Join us for part 2 of our studio tour, the camera room. Hi, everybody. Hey, welcome back to our studio tour. Today, we are going to be looking at the camera room. But first, so much of what we do with clients in the camera room is about the experience and about the connection we make with them. So we're going to take a little detour before we go to the camera room into the bathroom. When we were setting up our studio space, I knew that I wanted to create a spot in the bathroom for all of these girls who come in and have, chipped nail polish, who need to do a little refreshing on their hair. We have dry shampoo and hairspray, a little deodorant, mouthwash, and of course, everybody's favorite thing, the mints. I restock these all the time. This is just a way that we show our clients we care about you and we want you to have an amazing experience. Hello, welcome to the camera room. As you could probably see coming down the hall, we're continuing the feeling from our lobby in the camera room. We have some large pieces on the wall as you come down the hall, and we just have this set up in a way that, our equipment is in an old wardrobe. We're kind of carrying a little bit of the theme from the lobby, even into our camera room. Our space is about 25 feet wide or so. Like we told you, we've only been in here a couple months, so we've been trying out some new things. But the thing I love about this space is that it is long enough and wide enough to allow us to have 3 different sets set up at once. So I can pivot and shoot this way, I can turn and shoot this way, and then back over here very easily. Right now, we are set up. We've been photographing the American Heart Association Sweethearts. And so they each get a 30-minute session that has 3 different kind of magazine-styled sets. And that's been really fun. But what we want you to understand is it's not just about the equipment that we use in here. It's not about the lighting or the sets. It's more about the connection that we're making with our clients, and more importantly, the connection that they are going to be making with their images. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Okay, so let's talk about the 3 ways that we utilize this space with our clients. Number 1 is experience. Number 2 is setting ourselves up as an expert. And number 3 is connection.
It's a connection, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about experience first.
And hopefully you'll see as we go through this that the actual photographing process is secondary to the 3 points that we're trying to cover here. It is important, obviously. We got the lights set up and the backdrops and all that kind of stuff. It is important, but it is not the most important thing.
So experience-wise, we know that when our clients eventually look at their finished portraits on their walls, they're going to remember how they felt in that moment. So for that reason, it's really important to us that they have an awesome experience in this room.
And that's not always easy, especially if you're an introvert, because it means coming out of your shell. And I know a lot of you introverts are shaking your head, oh, interacting with people, it just drains me. And you're right, and that's okay. But you're here to make money. And so you're going to have to come out of your shell just a little bit and offer them experience that no one else in your community can offer them.
Well, and keep in mind too, talking about introverts. Introverts can interact with people.
Yeah.
We're actually good at that, but we're better one-on-one. So really, this is kind of an ideal place to be an introvert. You get to connect with people as deeply as you want. We've had really meaningful connections with our clients in the sessions. And so being an introvert is an asset, I think.
Oh, I think it can be too. Because we're both introverts, by the way. And I know you're watching this thinking, there's no way, you're on camera, you're making videos. But really, we're just making the video for you. That's all.
Just this one person.
Just you. And that makes it easy.
So anyway, getting back to the experience, we go off track a little bit here. Uh, Guiding our clients. You know how uncomfortable you feel in front of the camera? And if you don't know, then you obviously have not put yourself in front of a camera, and you should do that soon. But guiding our clients, talking with them about how to pose, interacting with them in a way that evokes laughter, because we're getting natural expressions from them, and they're connecting with us, and so they're having that positive experience.
Exactly. No, I've got nothing more to add to. Well, okay, I'll add a little bit more to it. That's kind of my job. Whitney is the main photographer, but my job is to truly interact with the client, whether it's the one we're photographing, let's say a senior girl, or the mom, because her experience throughout this whole process is just as important. Moms are heavily involved in their kids' lives, and they want that type of connection too. They don't want to feel secondary in a way. They want to be a part of that process. And so it's my job to appropriately engage with them and make them a part of that process too. It's easier with two people. I get that. But if you're doing it solo, you're going to have to put on both hats and engage with both your client and if a parent is there with them as well.
Well, and I think something that you can do is invite them into the process. I've always looked at this as kind of like, if you want your kids to eat their vegetables, you invite them to cook with you. So we want them to enjoy the final product. They actually need to enjoy being part of the process. So it's important that we tell our clients, first of all, now I have a plan for your session. I know what we're going to do, so don't worry about that. But if you see something you think would be cool, or you have an idea, I want you to share that with me, because we're going to be in on this creative process together. And a lot of people take us up on that. Sometimes they have really terrible ideas. And I will either try it or say, that's a really bad idea. If the right kind of person.
Yeah, we may have said that once or twice before. But think back to when you were, let's just say, dating, maybe in college or something like that. Your anticipation level is high, just like clients coming to see us. Your excitement level is elevated, just like clients that are coming to see you. And the last thing that they want to hear when they come into the camera room is for you to say, well, did you have any ideas in mind? Did you think about how you want to be posed? Have you ever thought, do you have a good side? I can't tell. You don't want to do that kind of stuff. Same way as when you were dating. If you were ready to go on that date and the person that asked you says, hey, where do you want to go eat? Oh, all that pressure is on you, but it also tells you that the person that you're engaging with really didn't give you a second thought, really gave no thought to what your experience would be or what you might enjoy. And you're left, feeling on the spot. You're left feeling a little down. It's just not a good approach. So there's a difference between collaboration, like Whitney was talking about, asking, hey, if you had any ideas in mind after we do some of this, let's collaborate and let's do something else that could be a lot of fun together. That's much better approach than just going, well, I don't know. What do you want to do? There's a big difference there. And unfortunately, we hear that a lot from especially newer photographers. This is something you learn, but this is part of the experience, presenting yourself as the expert.
How'd that dating thing work out for you?
I got you.
Clearly, you did something right.
I learned.
Okay, let's don't go down that road. Okay, the second thing, setting yourself up as an expert. This is the room where you need to show your clients that you are the person they should have come to. And there are several ways that we do that. But while we are photographing clients, we tend to talk to them about the process, about what we are doing and why we are doing it. So if we're posing them a certain way, we will give them a little lesson and go, hey, this is the flattering way to pose. Save this for later. Put your weight on your back leg, lean your chin forward, down. I mean, just all those little things that we know as photographers, but our clients don't. And so the more you talk through that with them, the more they're going to go, oh, she knows what she's doing. And
Mhm.
that trust builds.
Exactly. Educating your clients is just bridging back to what we were doing in the lobby, also happens in this room
Mm-hmm.
because we've all been to a photographer before who has told us to do certain poses without explaining the why behind it. And it feels like it comes across as they're just going through the motions of what they know they should do technically. And it may be right, but so what?
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be some explanation behind it, because when you give that explanation, again, it sets you up as the expert, but you're also equipping them for future photo sessions. Let's say, birthday parties or holidays that are
Mm-hmm.
coming up. If you tell a mom that she needs to turn sideways a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
put her weight on her back leg, pop her knee out, any of those little things, and you couch it as, remember that next time you're photographed, she will love you
And
for
she will
that
think of you every time she pops that knee out.
because you are the expert.
But I mean, we know all this stuff, but
Mhm.
we went to a photographer for just like a Christmas mini session. We took our own family and we went out in the woods, and he said, okay, y'all go over there. And that was kind of the extent of the instructions. And even though we kind of know how to pose ourselves, and maybe that was
Mhm.
what he was thinking, I felt so uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't know if I was doing it right. And that's with me
Mhm.
being a photographer and knowing this stuff. Imagine how your clients feel if you're not giving them that kind of instruction. So this is so important.
Yeah. I just thought, dude, I'm off the clock. I don't want to think about it. You tell me what to do. And I think our clients feel that way too, especially after a long day and the dad doesn't want to be there and the kids are frazzled and you're just trying to keep everything together.
Mhm.
Take charge,
Yeah.
be the expert, explain why, and it will pay big dividends.
Mhm. I also think it's important. People feel so uncomfortable. And I think normalizing that for our clients is something really valuable we can do. I always tell, especially these girls, we've been photographing a lot of
Mhm.
younger girls lately, to say, hey, you're going to feel really weird for the first 10 minutes. And then by the end
Yeah.
of the session, you're going to be like posing yourself and telling me what you want to do. And so when you predict that, then they go, oh, okay, everybody feels this way. I'm
Mhm.
normal. But also, oh, it's been a little while. Time for me to be okay. Time for me to feel comfortable. And that they do. That's what happens. And they end up being fine in front of the
Yeah.
camera.
Usually you couch it as, well, David's going to be telling dad jokes and you will feel
It,
uncomfortable the first few minutes,
yeah.
but you'll get over it. And they'll roll their eyes and yeah, there we go.
But the final way I think that we really set ourselves up as an expert here is we talk about what we are doing in terms of it being art.
Mhm.
So we recently did a project with dancers, and so these dancers get photographed all the time. And so, of course, they're in here and they are doing their poses. Mom is typically watching. And I know that she's probably done this pose before, maybe even for another photographer. So I will say to mom, hey, do you see how I know she's done this pose before, but do you see how I have the light positioned so that you see, like, I talk about the different lighting patterns. Like, see this Rembrandt lighting coming across her face, and you see this little triangle of light, and see how this is a fine art style of lighting. And so they automatically switch their brain to go, oh, this is something different. The pose
Mhm.
may be the same, her face may be the same, her hair may be the same, but this is something entirely different. And that's just one of those little things, again, that photographers know that the normal public doesn't. So by filling them in on that, they're going,
Mhm.
oh, you guys are artists.
Yeah, and if you think that sounds silly or trite or it just won't make a difference, look at the coffee you're holding in your hand right now. Okay? Chances are you either made it at home because you're thrifty like I am, or like most people, you're going out and buying something from Starbucks or something like that. Guys, it's just a cup of beans and water. That's all it is. But Starbucks reframed that cup of beans and water to something much more different, added quite a significant price increase to it, and you are gladly paying for it, when in reality it's just a cup of beans and water. Reframe, like Whitney was talking about, what you do with your clients. Become the expert again and explain to them what you're doing, how you're doing, And the end results will not just be a picture that looks somewhat maybe posing wise like what they've had before, but completely different. That's what sets you apart.
Well, and that's also what allows you to command a higher price,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody knows what pictures should cost, but art, fine
Yeah,
art, that's a different level. And so we can charge a much higher price if we are marketing ourselves as a fine art.
exactly. A well-known photographer who I attribute this quote to years ago said something that stuck with me. That is, if you position yourself as a technician, you will be relegated to the salary of a technician. That means if you're trying to do what all the other photographers in your area or what you've seen demonstrated before, do you want to copy that style exactly? You're making a widget. You're making something that can be mass produced. And you will be relegated to the salary of what the market deems is appropriate. If, however, you position yourself as an artist, there's no limit to what price you can command. Set yourself apart because no one can do what you do. No one is you. So capitalize on that.
Awesome. Okay, so the third thing we want to talk about that we do in this room that is so important is client connection.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are a lot of reasons why we connect with our clients. I mean, we just like people.
Yeah,
But I want to
mostly.
focus mostly, but I want to focus on one in particular, and that is gathering information for future opportunities. Because we can have conversations with people all day, but we have to kind of keep in mind the direction we want the conversation to go, because we are thinking about not only how do I make this experience great for this client, but how else could we work with them in the future?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to talk about a particular client that this was a great illustration of this. We photographed this year's American Heart Association survivor. We partnered with them for different things, and he and his wife came in, and we got to hear all about his experience. He had had a heart transplant, just an amazing story. And in the process, she began telling us about how she had a brain tumor. This was just an amazing couple. They were so much fun. We had a great time photographing them. And so, of course, we had a discussion about how they needed to bring their grown children in for family
Yeah.
pictures. And she even was talking about how, oh, he's had a heart transplant. I have a brain tumor. I guess it's kind of important. And I said, you're joking, but it is. It's really important. And then the week after they were here, we sent them a gift certificate to get them a head start on that so we could pull them back in.
This all happens in the camera room,
Mm-hmm.
where traditionally we think the technical aspect of what we do is occurring, but that's, again, secondary. And the only way any of this happens, especially this last part about client connection, is if you listen.
Mm-hmm.
You need to stop talking for a little bit. And I know that's sometimes a natural response because quiet is scary, but don't let it be scary. Think of leading questions that are just a natural outflow of conversation and then listen, hear their stories, because it will open things up to not only getting to know them better, but also potential business opportunities, future opportunities with them.
Well, yeah, I got two more with this client.
Yeah.
So when they first walked in the door into our lobby, which if you watched the segment on the lobby, you saw the portrait of our dog. She saw the portrait, the wife did, and freaked out over it. Oh my goodness, you do dog photography. We love our dog. We started talking about our dogs. Well, we're opening a dog studio next year. So
Mm-hmm.
guess who's top of the list for that?
Yeah. And then his connections with the American Heart Association, Children's Hospital, and things like that, things we would have never known unless we had listened,
Mm-hmm.
heard his story, and then naturally ask follow-up questions about it. And the only way that really happens is if you engender trust with your client, genuine trust with your client. That we're not just looking for business, but wow, these people are really nice, because
Yeah.
there's another business axiom. All things being equal, people do business with people they like. All things not being equal, people still tend to do business with people they like. That's what makes a difference. Technical work, you need it, but you've got to have a heart for this that is genuine.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, so I hope this has been helpful to think about how you can connect more deeply with your clients in this room as well as other times during your experience with your clients.
Exactly. And if you like this, please, like, subscribe, leave a comment with PPA's video segment here. Take care, guys.